was it his job to defend us? Because, should he have said something? Because even he kind of stood 10 toes down when he went on the Breakfast Club. It's comedy.
He absolutely
so
did.
As a black man, did he miss the mark? Or as a comedian, was he dead on?
I think that he should stop doing interviews right now.
Right.
But I feel like this. I feel like, in comedy, there's two things. You know what I mean? I'm going to speak freely for a second. In comedy, I can understand the mindset that as a comic, you don't want anybody to tell you what you could say as a comic. In a roast specifically, I understand how a roast works, as Kevin was trying to say. As a roast, you're going to say the most vile things that you could think of. That's the whole roast format. And if you're going to have Tony Hinchcliffe there, racist things are going to come. And you're okay with that. You're just not okay with the George Floyd joke because that's tasteless. It wasn't funny. Now, do I know racist jokes are coming? Absolutely. But normally in a roast, you're going to have a setup of comedians that are going to retaliate, right? And so the culture was mad, like, why isn't there no Jamie Foxx? Why isn't there no Eddie Murphy? Why isn't Will Smith there? Why isn't somebody to represent the culture, right? Then you got to break it down, because those people wouldn't come on a roast, right? If Eddie Murphy's going to be on a roast and we are opening up anything in that closet to talk about, what we going to mention about Eddie? Exactly. So if we have Will Smith there, Will Smith is not going to tolerate you making fun of what? His Jada situation and whatever joke you're going to make about that. Jamie Foxx probably not going to do it because we're going to probably hit, this off the top of my head, we're going to hit you like having kids with white ladies for 60 minutes.
For sure.
And so they're going to probably say no. So now the culture is like, man, now you have a reason. Now that's why you got Lizzo. That's why you probably got the twins. You know what I mean? I think it was visually, Kevin laughing at the joke visually, it may look like, oh, you cooning, you this, you that. I think on the Breakfast Club, I think he's been bullied before. So I feel like he feels like he's being bullied right now. He's like, look, I didn't write the Tony Hinchcliffe joke, right? And I can understand
But you co-signed it.
Well, he didn't know because he didn't. It's not like you see the jokes before, right? I think people think that you see the joke, you approve the joke, cool. Him laughing at it, I get that I get what that looked like visually, and it was wrong. That's not funny. It wasn't a funny joke. You know what I mean? It wasn't a funny joke.
And he was laughing, showing all
I wish
his teeth.
this. I do wish this.
And that white man.
Hold on one second.
Sorry.
I wish it wasn't a funny joke. I don't think Kevin should have laughed at it. I think and normally Tony would get his ass whooped. I do wish people would have energy for Tony because he wrote the joke and he's reachable. He's back in the 50s, you couldn't reach your racist.
Right.
Now you can. He in Austin. So anybody that's in the area talking about they mad over the joke and you can go talk to him, it's like, man, whatever. You know what I mean? All the people mad about, you can go actually talk to Tony.
Go kill Tony. Go talk to kill Tony.
I do believe the joke was terrible. I think the joke was not funny. I don't think Kevin should have laughed at it. I think if you have a dais of other people on there, like Matt, like a cat, we would be talking about the retort of they killed that boy Tony. Like she did.
But I think the pushback I think for me is that most people who are fans don't have the platform, right? Kev has the platform. It was said in a joke that was in a space that was supposed to be honoring him, right? So when we see our black comedian, again, black is this really operative term now, right? Because are you upholding a black value system? But when we see our black comedians like Kevin Hart, Tiffany Haddish, right? And we see how they shuck and jive in that moment, it feels like they're not holding the line. And this is what I mean by we gotta start demanding that the people that we place on these platforms, that they hold the line. And so I don't expect Kevin in the moment to necessarily have the answer because he's not even funny to me. So he doesn't have I'm sure he needs writers to figure out how to do that, right? But I think that after some time, after you've had a day or so, you should be able to say, you know what, I want to show honor to the victims. I want to make sure that I center them in this response and make sure that it's about them. There's a way to communicate in a way that shows that you understand the issue and you also understand your responsibility to the issue.
I agree with that.
Can I say something to what you said before you say something again? Because you had said that about him not interrupting or saying anything, but what's that white man's name that had a rose? The
You talking about when Tom Brady interrupted old boy?
So how come he couldn't? He had a micro to stop.
I'm explaining to you. The Tom Brady roast. You all have rules of what you can't talk about, right? So Tom Brady is do not talk about my kids. That's everybody co-signs. Do not. You can talk about whatever. Don't talk about.
I'm sure they signed agreements on that time.
So they signed agreements on
Yeah.
that. So when old boy goes up there and says somebody's kids, he walks up to him, don't do that again. That's because it's about my kids, right?
Right.
If it was the same of like, hey, I saw all the jokes or don't say anything about George Floyd, anything racist, and then he did it, that's an opportunity for that to happen. You know what I mean? I think people's view of that is that, but it was contractually, you're not supposed to say about these kids. And he did anyway. And Tom checked him. Kevin, here's my thing to your point again.
Yeah.
I agree with you. I agree that it, as a black person, like you get me, I'm from Texas, raised in Texas. I'm not going to laugh at that. My instinct is probably going to kick in, right? And then comedically, I understand the environment when I'm going to use the gift to retaliate comedically.
Right.
I love Kevin. He's done a lot for, let's say, like, I feel like comedy and comedians. I will say this. I think that the fan, black fans specifically, are always going to be let down when we expect things that people haven't shown us throughout their whole career.
That's true.
I think that if you look at a Jim Brown, you look at like a Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, and over the course, you identify these people that stand the line and be like, yo, Muhammad Ali, right? I think automatically, because we have these figures, there's an expectation on a Kevin Hart. And if you look at Kevin, at least for me, much as I love Kevin, I knew Kevin doesn't do that.
Right.
He never has. When Obama was running for president, that's a pivotal moment in the culture that a black man could win the presidency. And there's no joke about it. There's no point of view. I knew then, no disrespect to him, that's not going to be, he doesn't even address things like that.
Right.
Anything he's not going to be on the front line of the Democratic Party saying, please vote for him because Trump is crazy. He's never been that dude. So,
You see Z-Way's interview?
Who?
Z-Way. Z-Way did an interview. She's like, she does these parody interviews. And she interviewed Kevin Hart. And so the question was, she started with like, so who are you? Right. And he was like,
oh, is that the black lady that was
Yes.
like, yeah, I saw something. Yeah.
like, so he was like,
I
am I
didn't see
supposed to say I'm black? African American? And she was like, I don't know. What are you? And he didn't know how to answer the question. So that's a point.
Okay, but that's who he is, right? I'm saying I don't think he's been inconsistent of who he is.
Okay.
I think the expectation as he's grown has been like, you're finna be like I think he's always been that way. And I think people are shocked. I'm just not shocked because whether you find him funny or not, I've never seen him as a person speaking for the culture.
Right.
I've never looked at him to speak up for the culture, right? And so when that happened, his response was right on cue to me. Right? Not saying I thought he's always been a shuck and jive or any of that. I think he's on brand and smiling like that's on brand for Kevin.
Right.
I think if it happens with Kat, on brand for Kat, it's going to be retaliation. If it happens with, you see what Samore did when she came up, that's on brand. You could tell when even we did the roast, on brand is Kevin still went to his roast. It wasn't like, let me alter this to.
What did Samore do?
Not some more, excuse me, Cheryl Underwood, excuse me. When she returned fire, like she came up, she was like, she went off script a little bit and she kind of handled him a little bit.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Okay.
I think that, and it lifted the energy in the room. As a comic, she diverted from her set a little bit and was like, oh, y'all talking this racist shit, but don't forget you in Inglewood, you might not make it out this month.
Right.
Right. And everybody's like, oh, but that's the energy you won't return. Now, if you have five comedians with that on them.
Right.
You don't, because you got Lizzo. You only had Naeem was the only other comic that was a black dude.
Right.
Right. And he went away before him. You know what I mean?
Right.
He said he offered them some jokes and they said no.
Who?
Naeem said that he offered some retaliation jokes and they said no, thank you.
Well, yeah, again, who's telling them? Like, they're not even comedians. Like Draymond did great. Lizzo did, for the best they could do.
Why is Lizzo on there?
Exactly, because other people can't be. Right. So you had to fill the spot. Like an award show, we want Tom Cruise, you're going to get it. You know what I mean?
It's not.
Yeah.
But not even to be funny, but right? So if you want Jamie Foxx, if you want Cat Williams, you want Mike Epps, it's a reason they're not there. Eddie Murphy, it's a Chappelle. Yeah. It's a reason they're not there. It's not they don't with Kevin. It's the environment we finna put ourselves in. I don't want to do all that.
Yeah.
Like real talk, all my family did, not to be deep. Yeah. But if I do a roast, I'm knowing they're gonna make fun of it. Right? So I can say yes or no. You feel me?
Right.
But going in, I'm gonna know they finna say some foul shit. The whole Tony thing is like, I just feel like it wasn't funny. You know what I mean? It wasn't even like clever. And if you really gonna get it, Tony. All this fake, if you mad at Kev, I get it. But all the other people like Tony, and he's in Austin. Literally.
Right.
We don't live in, my dad was born in 1932. You couldn't get to, if you that mad.
Right.
Any comic that feel away, and I ain't saying go hurt Tony. That's not what I'm saying.
Right.
I just don't, and not the era where like I'm upset, I'm gonna play, I'm gonna make videos, I'm gonna do all this shit. The nigga is a flight away. I mean, you could buy tickets to the show and like, can I talk to you, Tony?
Right.
If you that mad.
Oh, I would love that.
not doing that.
I'm talking about you. I'm talking about certain people that's like, Tony, bruh.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's like me and you having an issue, and I'm mad at you. And then I go back to LA, and I'm on Threads. Like,
right.
The Nick nigga is really on my nerves. What are we doing?
But what about the fact that they did still edit out some things? Like, they edited a lot of things out. So at no point did he even, rethink it. There was like some jokes about him cheating on his wife and how he's so small. They thought he would have slipped through the cracks better. Whatever it was, he didn't want his wife to be too embarrassed. He rethought that and said, "Hey, take that out." He didn't do that for the Floyd family.
So that's
what I'm saying. You had an opportunity to even still make it right, and you didn't do that.
I didn't know
I don't know anything about that.
And was like.
If he edited stuff out and left in George Floyd,
when they leave, it was live. Well, no.
There's a list. I think Vanity Fair. There was a list of jokes. They didn't say who said what jokes, but there's at least 5 jokes that was said that didn't make it to, because there's a 5-second, 10-second delay, whatever, and then whatever was live, not everything made it to the replay on Netflix. So there are jokes that got edited out.
Oh wow.
Yeah, they both deserve smoke then. Tony and Kev.
Everybody.
Fuck that.
And on 5-second delay, you can't. It's impossible to edit that much out, just to be honest with you. If it's a 5-second delay, it's 5 seconds. So I don't know what got edited out, but like you can't edit out too much. You should have edited out the whole Rock. He was terrible.
Yeah.
He was terrible. I'll talk about it on stage. Everybody's calling for Kev. Yeah, we not talking about this is the whitest Samoan I've ever seen in my life.
Yeah, no,
because them jokes, it's not even the culture humor.
Right.
I don't care how successful you are. Come suck on my nipple, come sit on my lap over and over again. It's white boy humor.
Yeah.
Over and over. And I was like, this is silly.
Yeah.